Welcome, Ziva, to the podcast. I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm also happy to be here. I'm a bit nervous, but yeah, really I feel really blessed for you to invite me.
Of course. So, can you give our listeners a background of why you and I even know each other? So, feel free to share, your story from when it started and then up to where you are now. Then I'll have questions off the back of that.
Yeah, of course. So I don't really know when it started. I guess it's been so long ago that I don't have an exact timing, but yeah, about 20 years ago for sure. I started really worrying about my weight and how I look, and me being a ballet dancer, I guess this kind of helped in quotes, right? So yeah, I was really concerned with my weight, trying to lose my weight, trying to be skinny, even though I've always been skinny. But yeah, there was a point in my life where I just couldn't see it, and I lost this, I guess, touch with reality in a way. So
Mm.
yeah, so then I had a period of really restricting, of being anorexic, I guess, even though it was never like a day where I wouldn't eat at all, but it was so little food and I was dancing actively. So it was just not enough food. And then luckily I had a friend, she was also my boss at the time where I was teaching in a ballet school. She noticed my behaviors and I never admitted to her. I was always, no, I'm fine, but she kind of just supported me in that. And so she helped me out in a way, that I started eating again more. And yeah, but even though I was then eating enough, I was never satisfied with my body. So it's been like 20 years of constant worries and not wanting to eat, but then still eating. And then was a period when I was, I guess, binge eating, even though I didn't call it like this until a few months ago when I started listening to you, because the quantities of food were never like thousands and thousands of calories, but the behaviors were like, I wanted to not eat, but I couldn't not eat. And I would just like in the middle of eating, I don't know, cookies or chocolates or whatever. I would want to stop, but couldn't stop. So yeah, and then about 2 years ago, I decided, well, that's it. I cannot do this anymore. I have to change something. And I started seeing a therapist. And I love her. She's a great therapist. And I've done a lot of work with her because I think also my big issue, I know my big issue was also not opening up enough, not speaking about my feelings, even to my closed ones. So she helped me with that a lot. And then, yeah, then what, 3 months ago or so, or 4 months ago, I was listening to, I don't remember which podcast it was, but you were a guest. And I was like, oh my God, I have to meet this woman. She's like, just the universe sent you to me. And yeah, so then I started working with you. And I think all this work that I've done in the past 2 years with my therapist really made the perfect foundation that I could really progress quickly with you. I think if I found you 2 years ago, it wouldn't have been so easy for me to follow your steps. And I would, resist more when you say, just allow yourself to eat whatever you want. And I would be, no, I cannot do this, I would resist more, I think. So yeah, now I'm really in a good place. Yeah, I still have moments um, when I think when some of these thoughts come back, but I know how to deal with them. I know how to just accept me and not allow ugly and hostile talk to myself. Yeah. So,
What a journey. And I want to ask you some questions from your story. But before I do, I could tell when, and I said this to you when we first had our conversation, I said, I can tell you've been working on yourself with the way you're being self-reflective, how aware you are, the language that you're using. So I just want to second what you said. It was a perfect foundation to this work because you were open and you were coachable,
yeah.
and that's why you've had such a quick transformation in such a short time.
Yeah.
So you were a ballet dancer.
Yeah.
This is probably difficult to answer because this hasn't been your path, but do you think if your life had gone a different way, let's say you weren't into ballet dancing, it was something completely different, do you think that you would still have had similar issues around food and body, or do you think it was really started from that dancing world?
Yeah, before I would say that, yeah, that I wouldn't have these problems, but now that I understand a bit more and that I see how it maybe developed, I would say, yeah, probably I would still have, maybe not as severe, or yeah, because in my family, like healthy food was really, a priority. And I think also this struggles with food came from this, like, oh, this is bad food and this is good food. I cannot eat, I don't know, sweets and junk food in quotes. And so all this obsession with food kind of also led to me restricting, I think. So
Mm.
yeah, probably. And I mean, it's really difficult because even me as a mom, I want to teach my kids, to nourish themselves well, but I try to, rather than restrict them so much, try to teach them to add in as much as possible the vegetables and fruits. I mean, they love fruits, but some vegetables are sometimes more difficult, so I'm trying to kind of guide them this way, even though like a few years ago or even like 6 months ago, I would also be restricting them more than I am now. Now I'm more, free and just, yeah, just trying to teach them and educate them about, yeah, nourishing foods and listening to their bodies. And yeah, so.
That is beautiful because you're a cycle breaker, meaning that our parents are always doing the best they can with what they have. And you've reflected that even if you weren't in the dancing industry or the dancing world, you potentially would have still had a disordered relationship with food because of the way you were brought up with good food, bad foods. This is healthy, this isn't healthy. I love the language you've used around teaching your children to nourish themselves and to listen to their body and adding nourishment in instead of don't eat that, you can own, like, instead of the rules. And so with you having healed your own relationship with food now and your body, you're then teaching your children the same, what you've learned. So you're breaking that cycle of good and bad, junk and healthy, because that's not going to serve them in the future.
Yeah, I hope I am. I mean, I can see them, because like I said before, I would also tell them, oh, don't eat so much sweets. And, and now sometimes they ask me, can I have this chocolate? And I'm like, yes, sure, have it if you want. And they're like, really? I'm like, even they are surprised. And yeah, if you trust them, I see, I notice them that, yeah, of course, they love sweets and they eat sweets, but they stop, they won't eat like the whole box of chocolate in 1 minute or whatever, yeah, they have a measure in a way, they listen, their bodies tell them, of course, and their
Mm.
children, we should teach them how to listen to their bodies, and then
Yes,
it will be easier. Yeah.
that's it. So let's go into your journey then. So when you first came to me, and can you remember what you said in our consultation call when I asked you how your relationship with your food and body was? What was the quote problem for you when you came to me? And obviously, I remember if you don't remember.
I mean, I don't remember what I said. I know that my relationship to food was terrible. I was, yeah, always trying to restrict and not being able in the past years. And it was really frustrating to me. And yeah, I've always tried to lose weight pretty much. And then like consciously, of course, consciously I knew, no, but don't eat, don't eat too little because it's not good for you. But yeah, my inner voice would still be encouraging me, oh, don't eat this and don't eat this. And
Mm.
yeah, so it was messed up, my relationship with food.
Yeah, I remember you saying you did use the word binge, but like you said earlier, you wasn't sure whether you identified with that, but it was challenging nonetheless because it was the behavior of not being able to stop. And of course, that was because you were restricting the whole time.
Yeah, and even if I wasn't restricting like physically, I was restricting in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was really the binge eating behavior, even if the calories weren't like 10 thousands of calories, but yeah, still it was this feeling of like I have no power over whether I will eat or not eat in the evening, especially during the day. It's easier, you know, I'm busy and with the kids, and yeah, and then when the kids go to sleep, and also you get a little bit of a breather, and yeah, it's just, it was this behavior, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
And so,
frustrating to me. Yeah, I couldn't understand, you know, like I thought I didn't have enough willpower, or that I wasn't strong enough. And then even this is frustrating because I was like shaming myself for not being strong enough. And
yeah, that is such a common pattern. And I felt the same too. But it's not about willpower, as you have obviously discovered.
yeah.
So you came to me, we had that conversation. How did you feel about the investment side of things? Because this can obviously be a massive block for a lot of people, because number one, some people generally can't afford to invest in
Yeah.
themselves, or number two, perhaps they can at a stretch, but then they have the fears like, will it work for me? Is it worth it? So do you want to share honestly how you felt about the investment, and then why you decided to then choose yourself and then go for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a reasonable investment. And like I said, in the past 2.5 years, I've really made myself a priority. And I said, well, you know, if not invest in myself, then what? I can have a bigger house or a bigger car or whatever. But if I'm still in this behavior and still feeling like the way I was feeling, then it's really not worth it because I couldn't enjoy it. So yeah, I decided that this is this is totally worth it, and it's, yeah, the best decision. So, and yeah, I was like you also describe yourself. I was a bit, oh, maybe I'm the one that's just too messed up and this won't work for her, you know, but still I had hope and I had determination. So
Yes, thank you for being honest and sharing that, Ziva. So,
yeah.
can you remember how it was when we first started working together? And obviously, you have access to the program, and then you have homework set, and obviously the WhatsApp support. If someone was wondering whether or not to start a journey with me or with someone else, it doesn't really matter. They're just considering getting the support. How was it to begin with, and what were your biggest challenges throughout the process?
Yeah, like I said, I think my previous 2 years with my therapist really helped, because I remember going to her for our first session. I was so nervous and so ashamed, actually, also, you know, because it was so shameful for me to come to somebody and looking skinny, you know, and saying, oh, I'm so fat. And it was really embarrassing for me. And yeah, I got used to just saying these words and speaking honestly with her. So, and then when I came to you, it was more common, I guess, for me already to speak about this. And even for me, it was really amazing to know that there is somebody with similar experience, you know, on the other side. I really felt even more connected to you in this way. So to anyone who's struggling with food or body image, I would highly recommend taking a coach. And yeah, it's totally worth it. And nobody is too messed up to recover. So yeah, just go ahead. And yeah, if you can find some, I mean, I really, really loved the fact. I mean, of course, I would have preferred it didn't happen to you, but it did. So I really feel even more connected to you because of this shared experience, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And it is true. And this isn't obviously to discredit any incredible therapist or coach who is
No, of course not.
purposefully wanting to help people, but there is a difference when it's like where I work with a lot of parents. And then when they share some challenges with me with their children, I haven't had that experience. So, yes, I can teach and coach from my knowledge and experience, but I haven't got the lived experience of, right, that's happened to me. This is what I did. And so that's why, yes, I have certifications and all of that. But as you know me now, Ziva, I coach primarily from personal experience. Like, right, I know exactly how you feel. Let's be with that for a minute. And then this is what you're going to do next. And then this is what's going to work. So, yeah, I think if I work with a coach, and I do most of the time, I want a coach who has had a similar lived experience to me to be where I want to be, because they've been through it. They've not just got qualified, they've actually been through
Yeah.
something. There's a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It feels really, I mean, it's a deeper connection, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your biggest struggle? I mean, I remember a few messages we shared at the beginning, and you were like questioning like this, but really, and all of that. So what do you think was your biggest struggle or struggles when throughout this process? I know it's like ups and downs and twists
Yeah.
and turns along the way.
Yeah, my biggest one was definitely like mirror work, you know, really accepting. I mean, I can't say I have fully accepted everything about my body. It's still a process for me and a journey, but yeah, I'm working on it, you know. So this was really difficult, just being like naked with myself, looking myself in the mirror, or even not in the mirror, even just looking myself, you know, and maybe even touching myself, like my belly, that was always my problematic area, you know. I would always feel so like, oh no, it's too big, or my thighs. So this was the biggest challenge for me, definitely, like really accepting my body as it is. And yeah,
Mm,
just
yeah.
working through this. Yeah, it
I
would be
remember
like
we
a lot
did.
of crying, and yeah, it's just yeah, it was. I think I put it off the longest, you know. I was, oh yeah, 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 I will do it. I will do it. Maybe tomorrow, you know. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's the most challenging part. It was for me as well. And I remember that we did some mirror work together on a call one time. That was really helpful. And
Mm,
also we did something with your photos, obviously with your husband being an incredible photographer. We
yeah.
did some work with photos, which I think was really healing for you as well.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I mean, I I see myself. I mean, it's better now for sure, but I really had this body dysmorphia, and yeah, like
Mm.
then you showed me how you see me, and like also like my husband telling me how he, I mean, anyways, he tells me all the time, but you know, you tend to not believe him. I mean, you know, I say no, no, it's, I mean, he has to say this, you know. I'm his wife, he won't say, oh, you're fat. Of course he won't say this, you know. So kind of, yeah, I didn't believe people around me. That's how I look, you know. I would just think, oh, they're being kind, you know. You don't go around telling people they look fat. You're kind and you don't say this stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
And
now, yeah,
now do you believe it when people give you compliments?
yeah, yeah, I do. I mean, even if sometimes I can still feel some resistance, but I'm like, I just accept it and then just kind of, you know, let it sink in. And yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Even like looking myself in the mirror now, before I always had expectation to see myself fat, you know. I was always going to the mirror already knowing that I'm fat, you know.
Mhm.
It just, and now I don't, I maybe I'm even expecting to see myself thin, you know. It's like the reality, you know, not that this is the this is the way it has to be, but it is, I guess, you know. So I'm, yeah, I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying, but yeah, I go in front of the mirror and definitely not expecting to see myself fat, but more of a reality. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can put everything what you've said, well, I think I can, into a quote, and you must have heard me say this before. And the quote is, loving my body is a mindset I create for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that seems so wishy-washy from someone who hasn't experienced what that means, right? So if someone's currently looking in the mirror and hating what they see and feeling all the feelings you felt and what I felt,
Yeah.
a nice quote of, oh, loving my body is a mindset I create for myself. Like, how do you even do that?
Yeah.
It's hard to describe in words, but isn't it true that when you do this work and all the things in the program, then they come together, you literally change how you perceive yourself, your body, life, even.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the biggest, I I mean, the biggest step towards this was for me that when the first step was just stop allowing the negative thoughts and the ugly. I mean, it's really what we say to each other now. It's really ugly. You wouldn't say this to anyone else. So
Mm.
just stopping this and not allowing these words anymore is like huge. And then you can work towards, yeah, kinder words. And you can start with neutrality, like I'm okay or I'm enough or whatever. Yeah, you don't have to go straight to I'm beautiful or skinny or perfect or whatever, you know. It's so, for me it was really this, not allowing the nasty talk was huge already. So
Yeah, I mean, self-talk is everything, right? So you're living with yourself in your own head in a way.
yeah,
And so it's almost impossible to feel good about yourself and be happy if you're constantly hearing a voice that most people can't disconnect from, whether it's them or whether it's just society's thoughts or whatever. It's hard or impossible to be happy when all you're doing is constantly listening and believing your own thoughts about how shit you are.
yeah, yeah.
So self-talk is so powerful.
Yeah.
What about the food stuff? So this usually happens pretty quick, doesn't it? The shift around food freedom. And I know that you experienced it quite quickly. So how long was it? I hate to use the word results in this process, but most people that are considering getting support, they're used to quick results with dieting and all of that. So in terms of, I need to air quote the word results,
Yeah.
how quickly was it until you started seeing like positive shifts, is a better way of putting it, in this
Yeah.
process?
With food, with food freedom, you mean?
Yeah, with food freedom.
Yeah, so this was also when in your modules and you say like you just have to allow yourself all the foods, and I'm like, oh my God, oh, she's crazy. I cannot do this. But yeah, I really allowed myself, and I think everybody who goes through this process would think that they would just eat and eat and eat and then explode in the end. But
Yeah.
it's not like this. I mean, yeah, I ate more. I'm not such a sweet tooth. I ate more like pizzas and burgers, more this greasy, salty stuff. Um, and also, yeah, also some chocolates, but yeah, I'm more on the salty side. So I would eat more of these than usual, of course. But then for me, it was quite soon. I think like after a week, I was actually, oh, I cannot, I need some broccoli or something like just some fiber and some light food. And yeah, so for me, this went quite quickly. I would think that maybe I will just eat pizza for next 10 years or so. I don't know. So yeah, but I still have days when I mostly eat what I would call junk before, and there are days that I eat quite balanced, but I don't pay attention to this as much, and I certainly don't blame myself for it anymore. So yeah.
Would you say that you've developed, and of course, in relationships in general, we're always developing them, but with the relationship with yourself and with your body, would you say, how would you describe that? So if your body was a person that you was in a relationship with, how would you describe that relationship?
Oh yeah, much better, of course. Before it was just shaming. It was a relationship I wouldn't want to be in. Yeah, it was just shaming and yeah, saying bad things to one another. And now it's just, yeah, listening to one another and honoring our wishes. And yeah, sometimes maybe I eat something and I feel a bit heavy, but it's okay. I just kind of said, well, I just say to myself, well, it will pass. I did nothing wrong. This feeling of always being wrong and doing something wrong that was present before every time I ate is just so heavy, and it just kind of makes you feel guilty all the time. And yeah, now
Yeah.
I just say to myself, well, okay, it will pass, I will digest, and then I can eat something lighter, after. And yeah, so
Have you changed, or can you describe in your own words how you've shifted your perception and meaning of what the word fat means? Or because you've clearly been able to let go of like guilt and the shame, and if you notice it, you just let it go, so you're really in a great place. How have you managed to shift your perception from, oh my God, pizza's bad, fat's bad, over like that anxiety feeling that links certain food types to weight gain and all of that? I know that's like such a big question, but how would you share how you've done that?
yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I think just through work, I went really, I mean, yeah, I did all the work through your modules. I was really writing a lot of stuff down, and I was, yeah, really diving deep, I guess, into everything that's been going on and all your questions and all your all your worksheets have helped me with this. Yeah, I can't really say exactly what it was that shifted that, but I think the whole process and talking to you and talking to my therapist and just kind of, yeah, starting to see, I mean, yeah, we live in this world, this food exists, you know, chocolate exists, sugar exists, pizza exists, and yeah, and I like it. I like the taste of it, so why not have it every now and then? And it's doesn't make me a bad person if I have it. And yeah, I think just the whole work, the whole package really helped me. And yeah, I think, I mean, of course, the most important thing is that you're open to it now, because if there's resistance all the time, then yeah, then it's difficult. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
think
guess,
you're exactly right. Because in the modules, I think I write at the beginning, there's no one thing that's because people say to me on consultation calls, but how then? So you promising me all of this, like worthiness, and but how? And I'm like, this is the thing. It's not one thing. It's
yeah,
the 24/7 WhatsApp support, it's the coaching calls, it's
yeah.
the modules, it's all of it together, isn't it? It's not one
Yeah,
thing.
it's all of it together. And also like the group calls, I really enjoyed the group
Yeah.
calls because you meet other women going through the same thing. When I was, I don't know, 20, 21, something like this, I tried to find help, and I went to a support group, and there were all these anorexic girls, but they were like teenagers, and they were all there because their parents made them go, you know. None of them was there because they really wanted to get better.
Yeah.
And it was just, you know, it didn't help me, you know, because even, yeah, if you don't want to get better, then nobody can help you, even all these modules, because you're not going to do the work anyways. And so the first step is, yeah, I think that also why it took me so long to find help, because I wasn't ready, you know. I wasn't ready to accept that I might be fat or whatever, even though I'm not. But yeah, I wasn't ready to accept all the freedom, even though I really wanted it. But yeah.
That is a
So,
really key point. So key. And I'm so glad you've shared that, because we say we want things, but
mm,
then are we ready and willing to do the work to have the thing we say we want?
yeah, yeah,
And you did, and you have, and you are.
yeah, I did. But like I said, it took me 20 years. But yeah, better later than never, no?
Exactly. And that's where the investment does come into it, because I've invested myself to get where I am. And when you exchange like money for what you want, in obviously in this context of coaching, you show up and you're like, right, I'm really doing this. And then everything comes together, because there's so many free resources out there. I mean, my podcast, I mean, holy shit, I pour my heart and soul into every episode of that, and there's so much that I give away quote for free in terms of information, strategies, all of that. But then if you're missing, I mean, obviously you've not got the package of me having as me as a coach, but there's also that investment piece. So it doesn't even, money obviously means investment, but it doesn't even have to be money. It's like, what skin have you got in the game, if you
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
of choosing recovery and showing up for yourself. So I
yeah,
think it's great that you said that people want it, but not everyone's willing and ready to
yeah.
take what they want.
Yeah, because it is work and it is hard sometimes, a lot of times, especially when you have to face some of your fears. And yeah, it's hard. And you would say, oh, I would say oftentimes, oh, I will just go back to normal, you know. It becomes a normal.
Yeah,
No matter how messed up it is, it becomes a normal and a known and safe in a way. Yeah. So
exactly.
but I was determined enough that this is not my normal anymore. It's just too destroying. And
So how is your life now, and how has your relationships changed because you've been on this path of food freedom and body love?
yeah, I mean, I definitely speak more, you know. I open up more, especially to my husband. Before, I would sometimes just, yeah, I would just not tell him stuff that's, I don't know, hurt me or bothered me or whatever. So yeah, I would just keep everything to myself, and then kind of blame my body, you know, for being
Mm.
fat. It's yeah, it's a totally dysfunctional relationship with the body and also with others. I mean, now we have a great relationship with my husband, but yeah, I was hiding feelings from everybody. So now I tell him more stuff. And even he knows me that well, you know, that sometimes when I still have this kind of want to hide something, he says, oh, come on, tell me, I can see you, you know, and he kind of encourages me. And then yeah, you're right, I have to get it out and not hide it anymore. And this is also what I've been working a lot on with my therapist, and she's helped me so much with this, being more open and sharing. And yeah, it had kind of the same feeling of some shame and guilt, that if I share, you know, I will feel ashamed and guilty and all these mixed feelings. But yeah, you just feel relieved when you share with somebody, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. With shame, this is my personal and professional opinion. Let's take anger for an example. When we experience the emotion of anger, in order to express and to truly feel and express the anger, we need to move the energy through our body. We need to maybe physically move or dance or express our anger in a safe way. Whereas how we process, express, and share shame is by sharing it and talking it with someone. I mean, in my personal opinion, it's not necessarily a feeling where you want to be shaking it physically out or like moving your body. And again, this is personal experience now. It's more you need to have a safe space to just open up and to share how you feel and why, and to have that be met with love and received with love. And then I don't know how you feel about this, but then the shame kind of disappears when you have that exchange of sharing with somebody else.
Yeah, for me, it's exactly the same. I need like this more quiet, intimate space with my husband. He's and yeah, just share. Yeah, and like you said, then it kind of just disappears. I mean, it's gone, and you can have the conversation. And of course, you need somebody supportive on the other side. That's
Yes.
yeah, but I have this. So this is really a gem in a life if you have somebody like this.
It is. And so a few more questions before I want you to talk about your new business.
Yay.
How would you describe, like in a couple of words for each, how would you describe your relationship with food now? What words would you use to describe that?
Yeah, I think I would use normal, because for so long I wanted to be normal, you know, that now I can say, yeah, I'm quite normal. I eat what I want. I don't restrict stuff, you know. Okay, I'm a vegetarian, so obviously I don't eat meat, but that's my personal choice. It didn't come from a place of restriction because I didn't want to get fat, but just that's yeah. So this I don't eat, but all the other stuff, yeah, if I feel like, I eat whatever I feel like, and I don't shame myself for it. Even though, like I said, sometimes these old thoughts still come in, but I'm just like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done with that, and I don't want this anymore. So I kind of know how to deal with these thoughts if they come up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would use the word normal, because yeah, that's what I wanted for so long. I mean, what is normal anyways? But
Yes.
I don't really like the word, but yeah, since
Yeah,
I
we
think you know
definitely
what I
know what you
mean.
mean.
Yeah.
What about your relationship with your body? What kind of words would you use to describe that now?
Kinder, really, really kinder, because I was really nasty to myself. I wouldn't like we did no on with a call with you. Oh, this was the group call when you had us have a photo of our younger selves.
Yes.
And yeah, saying these nasty things to her, it was, oh my God, this was so terrible, you know, to realize what I'm doing. And it was a big eye opener. Like, yeah, and I imagine somebody saying this to my kids, you know, I would be like, no
Yeah.
way, you cannot say this to anybody, not just to kids, to anybody. Why
Mm.
say it to yourself, you know? So yeah, so this exercise, talking to a picture of your younger self, the way you talk to yourself, to your body, and kind of really opened my eyes, like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I would love for you to share. I'm not saying this is a direct consequence of our work together. I think it's definitely part of it, and the work
Yeah.
you've done with your therapist, and you're now able to choose what you deeply desire and want because of the work you've done. You're now creating your own business because of the free space you have, that you're not obsessing about food anymore. So can you
Yeah.
share with the listeners like what you're doing? So I just want to listen and celebrate you with your new
Yeah.
adventure.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, it was definitely, like I said in the beginning, if I like doing the work before I met you really made the foundation that I was able, I mean, your program is obviously more focused, even more focused on the food stuff. So this really, really pushed me, you know, the last steps to make this recovery. So yeah, the whole package was just it like you say, when you're ready, the universe sends, you know, the teachers or the yeah. So
Yes.
yeah, so now I started my own dog school. Yeah, and I have already like 2 groups with the puppies. Yeah, so we start next week. So yeah, I'm so excited. And I I haven't told this to anyone. On Sunday, it's my daughter's 6th birthday. And we are going, I mean, my husband knows, but nobody else. We are going to pick up another puppy for our family. Yeah, it's just an amazing opportunity. My breeder from the other puppy that I have, she got a cancellation from one buyer, and it's a golden Labrador Retriever. And yeah, I'm just, oh my God, I wanted the golden one. I have 2 black ones. So yeah, we're bringing a puppy, and it's my daughter's birthday. So
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
so I want to also make, now that I will have a brand new puppy, I want to really film everything I do with her, to then also
Mm.
make like an online academy, you know, and dog training. So yeah, I have a lot of vision and a lot of projects, and yeah, so
That is so exciting. I'm
yeah,
so
yeah.
freaking excited. And can you share? I mean, I do have listeners from all around the world, so obviously the online stuff would be beneficial for them. But who knows? We may have someone listening from where you're from. So do you mind sharing where you're from? And then I'll link your website below if they want you
Yeah,
like
sure, thank you.
personally.
Yeah, so I'm from Slovenia. For now, I work in Ljubljana mostly. So if anyone is from there and you need some help with your dogs, or you have a puppy, you're welcome. And with my new puppy, anyways, I want to make everything in English so that I can make online worldwide. So yeah, that anyone can access and benefit from it. I will really like try to shoot pretty much everything I do with her, how I raise her, how I,
Mm.
you know, troubleshoot if something occurs, and just how I raise her, how I work with her, how I teach her to be a good family dog. And I will also train her to be a search and rescue dog, like my other dog is. So yeah.
That's so like going to be so helpful because I'm an animal person, a dog person, a horse person. I know animals because I've been with them for such a young age. But those that don't, like I'm helping my friend at the moment because she's just got 2 puppies for the first time. The things that we naturally find obvious, they don't know. And so if you were to video, like for example, what do you do when your dog pees on the rug and not outside? Like
Mhm.
just to show what you do there is going
Yeah.
to be really beneficial. So I think it's it's going to be needed and very exciting.
Yeah, and like I said, I decided to do it in English because yeah,
Mm.
then the whole world is like, you know, an option. So yeah.
Yeah, even the world is, I mean, the world is your oyster. That's an English saying. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, 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 it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
so, Ziva, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I'd like to ask you, is there anything else that you would like to share out loud, whether it's specifically to your family and close friends that I know are going to be listening to this or watching this,
yeah.
or and all of our listeners in general that are struggling, how you used to struggle with food and body?
Yeah, I would just say to everyone struggling, like just go and find help, you know. You shouldn't be struggling with this on your own. It's difficult, and you're not alone in the world. There are many, many of us. I think I was really surprised how many people actually struggle, you know, okay, some more, some less, but still this food and body image, it's kind of a big deal in this era, I think, with the media so worshipping the thinness and the perfect diets and whatever. So yeah, you're not alone, and just reach out to Victoria. I recommend Victoria because she's amazing. But yeah, I guess there are a lot of people who can help out there. And yeah, just don't be ashamed. I think this is the biggest fear. I think we are ashamed of our feelings and of our thoughts. And I think this also is why we don't find help. So yeah, just don't be ashamed. You're not alone, and find help. It's an amazing life on the other side, so it's worth it. The journey is totally worth it. Yeah.
It's so worth it. And thank you for choosing yourself and being such an inspiration to others, because this story that you've shared is going to help so many people. So thank you for, I know you were a bit nervous about it, but I deeply appreciate you and sharing your story. So thank you, Ziva,
Thank
from my
you
heart.
as well for everything. Yeah. Thank you. And for inviting me. It's an honor.
You're so welcome.
Starting with your podcast is also what kind of pushed me, you know, again to the next step as well. So I think podcasts like this are amazing because some people maybe just listen for a year or for 2 years, and then they decide, maybe it's time for me to take a step. So yeah, podcasts like this are really valuable.
Thank you, Ziva. And thank you to our listeners, and I will see you next week.